To become more productive, play video games. How my work ethic skyrocketed since I started gaming every day. When I first came across this Medium article, I was immediately annoyed by the idea. Video games are the cause of my procrastination and laziness, right? You, Mr. Lillywhite, are a fool. But for some reason, that article just stuck with me. At the time, in 2021, I was super into Pokemon. There were days when I would find myself just playing for 5, 6, 8 hours on end. Collecting stuff in games has always been kind of my crack, and it seemed like I never ran out of energy just grinding and grinding away.
No, I don't think you understand. I'm obsessed.
When it came to real life, however, I was a total disaster. So why? Why is that? Why could I effortlessly grind for days and days and days in this stupid mobile game, but I would just internally combust after like 1 minute of real life work? What's up with that? And more importantly, could I do something about it? Could I take whatever it was that was working so well for me in Pokemon Go and implement it in other areas of my life to, you know, get back at least some semblance of control? The answer is yes. Why can I play video games for hours, but when I try to study, I lose concentration immediately? Games are designed around a sense of flow, where the challenges you encounter are aligned with your skill and where you are constantly rewarded. Games design is aware that at some point you will get bored of the main mechanic, so new dimensions of gameplay are layered on top. When you study, however, you are usually facing a badass boss from the last level, but without any weapons to beat him. It's just frustrating. Yes, 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 yes. I love collecting Pokemon because of the flow of it all. It's just a magical experience. Working, on the other hand... So, our mission is obvious. We want to make real life flow as well as video games do. So a few years ago, desperate for a solution to my whole procrastination problem that I mentioned earlier, I decided to devise a system which, you know, as much as possible, would tickle the same funny bone in my brain as digital collecting does. And in doing so, it became fairly obvious to me that this sort of system would need to fulfill 3 main criteria for it to function well. And the first one is that it has to be simple. My brain is peanuts, so we need simple system. So the first thing I did is that I narrowed my objectives. I asked myself, what actually matters to me at this point in my life? You know, where do I see myself 5 years from now? And those things, to me at least, again, your mileage might differ here. Number 1, by far, health. I wanted to stay active and build like this workout routine. The second thing was work, right? Pretty obviously. And finally, creativity. At the time, I really wanted to write that stupid book, which turned out to be an entire can of worms for its own reasons, but that's a story for another time. So every day I wanted to do a little, you know, I wanted to do at least the bare minimum on all 3 of these tasks. And when I say the bare minimum, I mean the bare minimum. If I could write 1 word, if I could walk outside for like 30 seconds, that counted. And every time I would do something that I knew was beneficial for me on one of these 3 tasks, I would give myself, as you can see here, a Pokeball stamp in my spreadsheet. And yes, I realize that's probably the nerdiest thing that you've heard in your life, but it worked for me, okay? It did wonders. Which, by the way, segues quite nicely into the second criterion. This whole system just had to be constantly rewarded. It needed to give me dopamine shot after dopamine shot after dopamine shot, because otherwise my brain would just not cooperate with it all. You see, when it comes to collecting mounts or Pokemon or what have you in video games, sure, the grandiose objective of kind of collecting everything is the thing that draws us in, right? But in getting there, in actually achieving whatever it is we want to do, we're constantly being bombarded with dopamine shots, right? Today is a Pikachu, tomorrow is an Arceus, and oh my god, is that a shiny? This constant stream of pleasurable gratification is what keeps us so damn hooked to these things, what makes us fucking love collecting. And oddly enough, this basic habit of giving myself a Pokestamp each and every time I achieved something in real life pretty much scratched that same itch in my brain. Not to the same extent, obviously, there are no shiny Pokemon stamps. And this brings me to the third and perhaps most important criterion. Flow. Talk about a buzzword. Popularized by Mihaly... Right, I'm not gonna butcher that, but it's on the screen. A person is in a state of flow when they are totally immersed in a task. When a person is in flow, they may not notice time passing, think about why they are doing the task, or judge their efforts. Instead, they remain completely focused. And tasks that put you in a state of flow have two key characteristics, which you can now see on screen. First, rewarding. Obviously, a task has to be rewarding, which is what we already talked about in the second part. But also challenging. However, not so challenging that it feels impossible to us, that it easily puts us off from doing it. This right here, folks, this is where the spreadsheet method I've been showing you excels. Because let's have a look. Yes, doing a little bit every day gets you a Pokeball, but very importantly, note here, I allow myself the option to kind of upgrade my rewards, right? If, for example, I write for more than an hour on my book, I get a Great Ball stamp instead of a Pokeball stamp. Again, super nerdy, but you get the point. 2 hours gives me an Ultra Ball, all the way up to that sweet, sweet coveted Master Ball. What happens then is as the days go on, you get this like marvelous, aesthetically pleasing monstrosity of a spreadsheet that you can see here, which you can use to track what you've done over the months, see your progress in the different tasks you've set yourself for, and crucially, use it to kind of set goals for yourself and adjust whatever goals you have such that they provide the necessary level of challenge to actually put you in flow. Gamers love challenges. For instance, this week here, I wanted to go really hard on research, on writing my papers, but I didn't want to burn myself out, right? So I told myself, if I can achieve a Master Ball on 2 days, 2 days, not more than that, but only Great Balls in the rest, that's going to be a-okay for me. That's everything I'm going for. The flexibility is limitless with this, and I think this is what makes this method so powerful. So yes, Lily White Senpai, forgive me, for you were right all along.